Good day and welcome to this special segment of the RCB Radio Sports Show, live at 92.5 and 94.8 FM and online at www.rcb.ie. My name is Jim Conlan, and ahead of the big event at the weekend and all next week, the Crucible, the World Snooker Championship, I'm delighted to be joined today by a three-time world champion, the one and only Jester himself, Mark Selby. Mark, first of all, delighted to have you on, and I know you're a former champion, but you still get those butterflies every time the Crucible comes around?
Yeah, for sure, Jim, for sure. Like I said, I've been working hard the last few weeks. My season overall has not been too bad this year. Been quite consistent, winning 2 events and getting to the latter stages in quite a few more. So looking forward to it, but even more so looking forward to it because there are going to be a few fans there, which will be nice.
Yeah, and I suppose, Mark, coming into the tournament in terms of the Crucible, normally you, as in previous years, you would have the fans, you would have those sort of tournament, you would be able to judge form. How's it been like the last year or year and a half or so for you playing in the sort of the bubble sort of environment? And obviously now you're breaking away from that again. Is it a welcome sort of break, or have you did you find that you struggled through the no fans being able to draw from the crowd?
Yeah, it was difficult. I mean, especially for some of the big tournaments like the UK and the Masters, playing behind closed doors with no crowd, it was quite difficult to get yourself motivated for them because they're sort of the 3 tournaments of the world, the UK and the Masters, are the ones which I sort of set my goals to try and win a few more of. So going into them tournaments, you normally get the butterflies for them as well, but having no crowd, it was quite difficult. But at the same time, I suppose we need to appreciate what World Snooker's done and Barry Earn to even put tournaments on through this tough time in this pandemic. You know, I mean, there's been a lot of sports that's not been able to go ahead. We've been one of the fortunate ones that has been able to still carry on and still earn a decent living. But when you do something for so long, you sort of get used to it, Jim, you know, so playing in front of no crowds, it becomes the normal now. So going out there, playing in front of a crowd is going to feel strange again.
Yeah, and I suppose, Mark, in terms of your own game in the last year or so, you've got a new coach on board, the renowned sort of Chris Henry. In terms of that sort of change, did you feel that was sort of needed in terms of your own sort of career going forward, or what was the tools, or did you feel that Chris would add something to your game, or did you just felt it was just time to sort of change and new ideas in terms of training and in terms of going forward?
Yeah, well, I'm always looking to improve, and I felt as though I sort of hit a brick wall and wasn't really going anywhere, and sort of mentally I was sort of getting a little bit fragile. So I know Chris has got a few players on board, and a lot of people speak highly of him. So at the time, I thought I got nothing to lose. You know, I mean, I wasn't in a great place on the table, wasn't playing great mentally. I was sort of beating myself up quite a lot when I was not playing well. So I thought I got nothing to lose, and I gave it a go. And first time we was together was last year at the World Championships, and I felt leading up to the World Championships my form wasn't great, wasn't really going there with too many expectations, but I felt just within a few weeks of working with Chris, all of a sudden mentally I felt a lot different. Physically I was playing a little bit better, and I was possibly one frame away from getting to the final, and who knows, could have won it again. And carrying on throughout the year with Chris, I feel as though there's been massive improvements form wise. Mentally I'm in a better place, a lot more positive, and yeah, things are going good and I'm enjoying it. And it's nice to have a different challenge because you sort of get stuck in your own way of just doing the same thing day in, day out, just practicing, doing the same routines, playing with other players. And Chris has just brought a whole new sort of different complex into the way I practice and the routines and different structures, so it's been good.
Yeah, I suppose, Mark, if we look at the Crucible, people will say that obviously you're one of the favourites, but you're on the same side of the draw as Ronnie and John Higgins as well. So obviously only one of you can get to the final as sort of such. So people will look at that side of the sort of draw, and like the Champions League, they will say, oh, it's the group of death in terms of that sort of side. What do you sort of make of that? I suppose you have to beat the best to get to the final, and you have to play everyone if you want to win it as well. So I suppose it's better to beat those guys earlier and knock them out in terms of the final, because some of those guys, they always bring their best, their A games come the final sort of such.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to be fair, Jim, I mean, whatever tournament you play, when it's the World Championships, every match is a tough game, you know. I mean, I'm not looking any further than my first game against Kurt Mafflin. That's a tough match. I played him a few years ago in the first round and won 10-9, and we had a great game. obviously he had a good tournament last year. He beat John Higgins himself, getting to the quarterfinals. So I know that's a tough game up first. So yeah, looking at the half, I mean, I'm probably in the toughest half of the two, but then at the same time, you know, if you're getting through to the back end of the tournament, you've done it the hard way, and you know that your game's in good shape. So I'd rather sort of be in that half, if you like, because I know that I need to turn up, and if I don't turn up, I'm going home. Rather than if you go in another half and you think, oh, that sort of opened up a little bit, you sort of go there with a sort of thinking that you're through a few rounds before you've even started, and that could come back and bite you on the bum.
And Mark, in terms of World Snooker, in terms of the competition, where do you think the game is at the moment? We have the likes of yourself, we've Neil Robertson, we've Judd Chump, John Higgins, Ronnie still around. Do you feel that there's a number of players competing at this weekend, maybe up to as far as 8 or 9 players that have a real good chance of winning the tournament? And is it a very much an open field? Is World Snooker at the moment very open in terms of who can make the breakthrough and who can obviously claim the top prize?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've been saying it for a few years now that I think the standard of snooker is probably as hard as it's ever been. And especially this year, getting into the World Championships, as you say, I probably think it's more open than it's ever been. You've got a lot of players on form. Myself's been playing well, had a decent season. Neil Robertson, as you say, Ronnie's playing well, Higgins, Kyron Wilson. So when you look at players like these, and then you've also got the Mark Allens and the Murphys who not had the best of seasons, but there's no reason why they can't go there and win it as well. So it's going to be tough, and it's probably, like I say, the most open it's been, but the standard of snooker is Sorry, Jim.
Perfect. Yep. No problem. No problem. Mark, continue it.
Yeah. So I think the standard of snooker has been as tough as it's been for the last few years. So going there, it's going to be tough. I think it's difficult to pick a winner. I know on paper you're probably going to have 4 or 5 people who you think you'd probably like to think could probably win it because the way they've been playing this year. But when you get to the Crucible, all that form book goes out the window.
And I suppose, Mark, in terms of the week ahead, in terms of preparation in between sort of games, are you the type of player that once you finished on the table ahead of your next game, you'd like to sort of focus out, you like to tune out, you like to go back to your room, relax, maybe read a book, watch your favorite TV show to just get out of that sort of zone? Or are you one of those type of players in between games that you practice, well, I'm going to eat this, do this, and then I'm going to try and fit in a training schedule, a few frames of snooker here and there and sort of such? Or is it very much game, then zone out, and game, and then zone out? Or what's the plan for Mark Selby during the week at Crucible?
Yeah, I mean, I try and sort of, other than when I'm there just before the match and practicing and when I'm playing the game, I try and switch off as much as possible because it's such a long tournament and it's physically and mentally draining from start to finish if you was to get to the end. I mean, with it being 2 weeks long, and you got like long session matches, first to 10s, first to 13, 17 and 18. So if you was to go on and get to the end, it is physically and mentally draining. So in between sessions, as you say, I basically just go back to the hotel or apartment, wherever I'm staying, and basically just switch off, watch a bit of Netflix and just not even think about snooker at all until the next day when I'm playing.
And Mark, in terms of the Crucible, in terms of obviously the media, it's a media buzz circus, as we know, this time of the year. In terms of listening or reading to what's been said or what's been going on there, do you start to distance yourself from all types of social media in terms of that, trying to obviously try and not see what's been said or what's been written about or what other players are trying to say in terms of, I suppose, the mind tactics that goes on behind it as well? Is it very much best to keep away from it because anything might become a distraction? Even a few words or a few sentences can be interpreted the wrong way.
Yeah, possibly. But I mean, to be fair, Jim, I've sort of come off social media myself now for probably nearly 2 years. I'm not on Facebook, not on Twitter no more. Because of that simple reason, really. Obviously, you got a lot of people, keyboard warriors, probably saying things and sort of you shouldn't take it on board. But when people say things, you probably do, and it can affect you. So I've not really missed it. And like you say, I'm not in that situation to sort of read up on too much media other than doing the media interviews, which we do like with yourself and World Snooker and everybody else, so which is fine.
Yeah. And I suppose, Mark, lastly for me, a three-time world champion. And I suppose each time this day you achieve that feat, it becomes more and more special because the opportunities, who knows when the next one will come around the corner as well. So in terms of that, you sort of value each one. Does each one have its own significance or importance? Obviously, the first one is very special, but in each time, do you sort of savor the moment that bit more these times? I know you're 37 now. You're still probably young in terms of snooker, in terms of that age, but do you sort of feel that everything that's going on in the last year or two, that if you were to achieve the ultimate feat, that this one would be just as special as the first victory?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, as you say, I'm 37. I'm probably, people don't see me as very old snooker time, but I feel old, Jim, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, with what's gone on this year, I mean, it sort of makes you realise you have to sort of cherish things a lot more. I mean, even just spending time with the family. I mean, we've been away so much, not in normal circumstances. Pre-COVID, we're probably China 4 or 5 times a year, travelling here, there, around the world, and not really having that much time at home. So, in a way, don't get me wrong, I'd rather it not happen, the COVID, because of all the families, and a lot of people have died and people have lost loved ones. But on the other side of the coin, it's been quite nice to spend a lot of time at home with the family, because we sort of miss out on that kind of so much. So, as you say, going back to the Crucible, you never know what's going to happen and what's around the corner. So you do have to just cherish it and go there and basically enjoy it as if it is going to be your last one, because you never know what's around the corner. So, and it's such a special venue, such a special tournament, and to have it, to win it 3 times it's fantastic, really. I mean, hopefully it doesn't stop there for me and I manage to win it another once or maybe a few more. But if I wasn't to be, and then I can be happy with what I've achieved.
And Mark, just one more thing. I know you're a renowned sort of Leicester City fan as well. And I suppose in terms of the run-in, in terms of the Champions League spot, you're obviously watching with tender hooks. Obviously, that West Ham result didn't go your sort of way as well. Are you still hopeful that you'll finish in the sort of top 4? And in terms of the job Brendan Rodgers has done at Leicester this year, obviously you're a big sort of fan as such. If you would Europa League at this stage, would it be a disappointment if you didn't finish in that top 4 spot?
Yeah, of course. I think it'd be hard to take, especially after missing out so close last year as well. So, I mean, we've got a lot of our key players back. We had the Madisons and Perez and players like that didn't play last week for obvious reasons with the COVID breaking the rules. But I think they'll be back this week. We've got Southampton on Sunday in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. So we're going to start that game favourite. That'd be fantastic if we manage to win that and get to an FA Cup final and have a chance of silverware. But I think we'll probably hold on to the top 4. Well, I hope we'll hold on, because, like you say, 2 years on the trot would be heartbreaking.
On that note, Mark, best of luck to you in the Crucible as you bid to become a 4-time world champion. And also, best of luck to Leicester City as well. Hopefully it'll be a successful 2021 campaign for you and your beloved Leicester City. Mark Selby, 3-time world champion. Best of luck in the Crucible, and obviously your first match for everyone tuning in and all our audience listening to vivid Irish sort of snooker fans. Mark Selby will play Kurt Mavlin in the first round of the World Snooker Championship in the Crucible. Mark, best of luck.
Cheers, Jim. Take care. Stay safe, mate.
Cheers.